All right, YouTube Repo Man 64. I found some stuff. Um, is it the Rapture? It's pretty exciting. I've been working on this for since I noticed it, and as you know, this is what I do: is look at times and their relationships to other times and stuff. And I think I found a countdown. It's pretty cool. I went over it in Commander Kelly's Cool Cats chat room. I've been over it with uh, several people in the Discord. I'm talking with Kevin. We have a little side chat group with Kevin Spinebreaker, Will over at Worship and Watch, and Tony from the Cataclysm, Tony Early. And we're all they all help me put this together. We don't know if this is it or not. We've never known for sure. The reason we don't know, and I'll tell this to anybody, you know, a lot of times the mockers really don't bother me because I feel like, and I'm probably not 100% correct about this, but I feel like a part of you are doing this blocking thing that you're doing, laughing. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen for 10 more years. And the reason you're doing it is because you're kind of hurt. I get that. You're kind of bothered by the fact that it hasn't happened and that we keep coming up with, make myself look there. We keep coming up with the next stepping stone. And I personally feel like all of these stepping stones have been very important along the way. And when we get to heaven, like I said 100 times, I'm going to go to the timeline room and I'm going to look and I'm going to see this huge mechanism countdown clock that's been happening since day one, and it's going to be 6,000 years, and then from this event, from Abraham, 4,000 years, and then from Jesus, 2,000 years, and we're going to see this timeline that's going to tighten up, and that's what I think I found. And so, no, it's some of you really are watchers. You are a watcher, and you're a little impatient, and I get that. I kind of don't. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been building timelines since 2011 mainly. Before that, I've been watching other people build them and trying to figure out this event that's taking place. What I have noticed, and I've said this before, is that the closer we're getting, the more of you are seeing these things. And it's not just timelines. It's feathers. It's numbers. It's formations in the clouds. It's dreams. It's visions. It's world events. Every one of us is a part of the body, and we're all seeing it differently. And I won't discount anybody because they're a different part of the body, and what God is revealing to them is a little bit different than what God is revealing to others. But each one, I mean, you can live without an arm, but it's so much easier if that part of the body's there, right? Can't live without a head. Can't live without, you could live without ears. People do it every day. They can't hear, but it's a lot easier if you could hear. Sight, speech, legs, every extremity that you have is a part of the body, and everyone has a different function and a different purpose towards that body's success. Jesus is the head of the body. So I don't ever really get upset with the people who, some of them I feel are just frustrated. Others, I really don't even know why they would be in watching a video, honestly, except for they want to be convinced that this is going to happen. Well, let me convince you. This is going to happen. Exactly when? We've been just trying to figure it out, and it's just, God enjoys this. He loves this. He loves that we're trying to figure this out. He's not going to directly tell us. We're going to search out His Word. The Word became flesh, and the flesh dwelt among us. Jesus is the Word. The Bible is the Word of God. And we're going to continue to try to search this out all the way up to the very end when it actually happens. And it's like I said, I'm not too critical. Some of you who are critical of this, Some of you are saints. You're here. You're following close behind. There's some reason why you either, I don't know, misogynistic. Why are you watching these videos if you don't believe that the rapture is going to occur soon? But you're kind of curious, right? Why are you here trying to watch with us and figure this out? But then when it doesn't happen, you're the first one to jump in and say something. To me, I'm baffled by the concept of it. But it's okay because I have a feeling. Well, I don't have a feeling. I know that there's nearly 8 billion people on the face of this earth that have zero clue. They have no clue. The stuff that's going on in Israel, this might be biblical. Are you kidding me? What, you think it might be biblical? It's written right in the Bible. Gaza will be destroyed. It's written right there, as clear as a bell. You can't ignore it that it happened. But most of the world doesn't see it. So, with all that said, and remember, we're so close. If you're on the fence of whether or not you should believe any of this stuff, it's not about the belief in a date. It's really not about watching. It is kind of about watching. If you're looking forward to something, you're watching. It's about your salvation, though. That's the most important thing. Out of all of this that we do and try to figure out, the most important thing is your salvation. And the Lord's calling. He's calling you. John 6:44. That's why it's on the wall. It's my favorite verse in the entire Bible. And it takes all the pressure off of you and puts it on God. That's what that verse means. It means that if you feel this drawing that's calling, this, God has a gift for you. He's reaching out. Will you take a hold of that gift? That's the question. That's what it's all about. Everything inside that gift is everything you will ever need to live in eternity somewhere in heaven, in the millennium, wherever you're placed. It's all there, everything that you need. It's everything you need not to go to the lake of fire. We don't want anybody going there. Nobody that's created in the image of God should go there. That's insane. Why? We're following, or not me, but there's many people following Satan. He's a created being. He is not all powerful. He's not all anything. He's a great imitator. He follows God, tries to imitate things God does. That's why a lot of the things that you see in this world that you would say, wow, that's some high-tech stuff, it's nothing compared to what God has in store in heaven. It's everything stolen from God. So let me go into this really cool countdown that I found, and I need to go into the pictures to do that. All right, so we're going to start about right, whoops. We're going to do a little refresher course. Remember, the bride is found in Luke. Everything we need to see, we have already seen because of this little part down here at the bottom of Luke 21, verse 25, 28 down here. When these things begin to come to pass, well, they have begun to come to pass. We are definitely seeing the signs in the sun, moon, and stars. That to me tells me that all three of those signs will occur together. And it did when we had the solar eclipse on the ring finger of Virgo. It happened. The sun, moon, and star, all three of those occurred on when that happened. On what day was that? That was October the 14th. And then the rest of it is things that will happen because we've already seen these things begin to come to pass. All right. Now here we see for the sleepy church how long after our rapture it is. Is it 7 days? Is it a year and 10 days? Is it 5 months? I don't know. I can't figure out the rapture day, let alone figure out when the saints go home. I really don't know. So at this point, this information is not given to us. And here's the reason. That's what I meant to get to. I keep hearing people saying, when the bombs come down, we go up. No, we don't go up when the bombs come down. We go up before the bombs come down. We go up because Satan is cast out. That's the only thing we're waiting for, is for God to cast out Satan. We don't go up because nuclear bombs are dropping everywhere. If we saw that, then suddenly we're going to realize we're saints. We're not the bride, because we're going to be in heaven to witness the first seal being opened. And that first seal is when all war, all hell is going to break loose here on earth. It's going to be something else. We won't be here to see that. We will be in heaven. The reason we are raptured to heaven is because Satan is cast out. That's why. Not, we're looking at the events. What's holding it back? What is stopping it? Why hasn't Israel just annihilated Gaza at this point? What's holding back China at this point from just taking out Taiwan? Or North Korea? Is it North Korea and Taiwan? I don't recall which one is after Taiwan. What's stopping it? What's stopping Russia from just obliterating Ukraine? What's stopping it? What's stopping Israel from just? I mean, they got nukes. What's stopping them from just wiping out all of the Hamas and everything around them to protect themselves? What is stopping all this from happening? That first seal is not open yet. That's what's stopping it. Okay, let me get back to the pics here. Now remember, the saints will see, but in those days, after that tribulation, that's the rapture. The tribulation has begun. They're the ones seeing the war. The sun shall be darkened. We've seen that. The moon shall not give her light. Oh, that's going to happen on the 28th. The stars shall fall. That's Satan coming down. And the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. That's the rapture. Then they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. They're going to see Jesus as he raptures us out of here. And then shall he send his angels and shall gather. See how fast it is? How fast is it? How much time do we have from the moment of the rapture to the moment of the gathering? This is a gathering. This word gather is not rapture. It will not translate into the word rapture, harpazo, catch up. It will not do it because it is not right. This is speaking to the church, to the saints of the tribulation right here. How long is this passage? Is this passage 3.5 years? The only decent argument I heard was from, who was it? I'm terrible with names. Give me a second. I don't recall who it was. I watched a video and they said the reason the saints are here for 3.5 years is because the woman delivers a son, but then has to go hide for 42 months. Is it 42 months? Or is it 3.5 days, 84 hours? You see what I'm saying? Time transfers differently in heaven than it does here. And I'm going to show that on the countdown, on the timeline that I have, just a little tiny thing I just made. All right, so, and then of course the Jews are in Matthew. They're the ones that are not to be looking for Jesus anywhere. He'll come back at the end of the 7 years and they'll realize the one that they pierced. Okay. Let me go here really quick. Where are we at right now? We are now just 1 day after Noah goes into the ark and sits at the entrance on Heshbon 10, October the 24th. 1 day after, 220, today would be the 223rd day of the year. You would have thought on October the 24th, we would have seen something huge. But we did. You just haven't seen it yet, and I'm going to show it to you. And then on October the 31st, Noah, who's been sitting in the ark for 7 days, the ark door is shut and the flood begins. And then, let me go here. All right, blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself, he shall dress himself as a waiter. You can get this in other translations, but in the King James Version, which is the Bible I use, it says gird. And make them to sit down to meat. He will serve them a meal, and it will come forth and serve them. So that's incredible, isn't it? All right. Now, what happens 47 days after Adam has been a full 7 years in the garden? He sins. He sins on the 17th day of the second month. He sins on October the 31st, the same day the flood begins. October the 31st is not a day for Satan. This is a day of judgment. This is the day God wipes out sin, takes sin and removes it. Adam and Eve were removed from the garden. Actually, they were removed 47 days later, but on this day, judgment was brought down on Adam and Eve. Judgment was also brought down on this day, on October the 31st, when the flood began 4,344 years ago. All right. Whoa, that's me on my Hayabusa. Sister Sandy made that for me. Okay. That's a pretty good rendition of the Busa. Not of me. I'm bigger than that. All right. So, at 11:11 p.m. in Israel, there's your 11:11, right? That's what threw me. That's what made me jump up and realize something was going on here. At 11:11 p.m. in Israel on October the 28th, the moon will have an eclipse. There will be an eclipse of the moon. This is exactly 14 days after the solar eclipse. So I thought, I need to do some counting. And that happened to me today. This came from God a Minute has a Facebook, and Daniel Taylor put this on there, and it says Enoch chapter 78 and 79 tell us to look for the first portal. So this is just another countdown. There's a count for the sun in Enoch, which is 364 days, 182 days, and 91 days per cycle. And there is also a count for the moon. Now, the moon doesn't give us the head of the year or the head of the month, but it is used for a countdown. And you can see that this blood moon, and you add 177 days, and it's the next blood moon. And this goes from 6/5 of 2020 to November 29th of 2020 to May 25th of 2021, 177 days exactly to each one of these blood moons until you get here. And I want to make sure he gets credit. This is Daniel Taylor that posted this and got a minute on Facebook. Until you get to this one. This is October the 28th at nightfall, 2023. Blood moon is the last blood moon of a 177-day cycle that began on 6/5 of 6/2020. There will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars. Isn't that incredible right there? Is that not incredible? This will not happen again. The blood moons falling exactly 177 days apart like this, just like now remember, the moon has a 354-day cycle. It can't be used again for the beginning of the month or beginning of the year, but the moon is there to show us, and it's exactly 177 days, and then the next one will not be in 177 days. It's a countdown. There was an eclipse. I didn't take the date down. There was an eclipse of Mercury on October the 19th. That happened on October the 19th, where Mercury eclipsed the sun. Of course, it was tiny. We couldn't see it, but that happened on October the 19th. Here, what do we have? October the 28th is when the eclipse happens. It's 4 a.m. my time, 11:11. Maybe I did that wrong. Lunar eclipse, 11:11 p.m. Yeah, I did that wrong. It's 4. It would be, if it's the lunar eclipse, it would be 4:11 p.m. my time. But that's not what I'm looking for. And they called, and notice this, they called Barnabas Jupiter, and they called Paul Mercury, because he was a chief speaker. So we find this in the Bible where Mercury is related to the chief speaker, the bride. You see that Mercury is related to the bride. This happens on October it's 19th, but all right. So here we go. Here's the little timeline I made that I wanted to show you. From the Feast of Trumpets, from the old head of the year, Tishri 1, September the 15th, 47 days, just like Adam sinned 47 days later, it comes to here where the flood begins on October the 31st. And then 1 year and 11 days later, on November the 11th, Noah leaves the ark. That 11 means something. So let's walk down the timeline of these 47 days and see what we can see. From the Feast of Trumpets, Tishri 1, September the 15th, we go 15 days. Jesus is born on the Feast of Tabernacles, September the 30th, which is Tishri 15. Then you go 8 more days. Jesus is circumcised and named. This is Shemini Atzeret. This is the day the invasion took place on October the 7th on Tishri 23. Go 7 days. Now remember, you have 15, you have 8, you have 7. Go 7 days. We had a solar eclipse on the ring finger of Virgo. That happened on Tishri 30, October the 14th. Now let's go 5 more days. We had the eclipse of Mercury. Mercury went in front of the sun. We couldn't see it, but it happened in Virgo on the ring finger. The Mercury being related as the chief speaker in the Bible. This happened on Heshvan 5, October the 19th. Let's go another 5 days. See that countdown? 15, 8, 7, 5, 5. Noah enters the ark. He enters at 11:11 a.m. How do I know this? Because the lunar eclipse occurred in Israel at 11:11 p.m. on Heshvan 14, October the 28th, which is in 3 days. It's going to occur in 3 days. So when I count back, I know Jesus was in the tomb for 84 hours. He died at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday. He rose at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. Technically was Saturday night. He was in there for 84 hours. The widow that was in the temple giving every dime she had was a widow for 84 years. We see this times, and half a times all the time. And this is what time, and half a times adds up to if you're looking at hours. It's 84 hours. So all I did was count backwards 3.5 days or 84 hours. And I see that Noah enters the ark at 11:11 a.m. on October the 24th. Now, as of the eclipse at 11:11 p.m. on October the 28th, you go 84 hours and you will land on 11:11 a.m. October the 31st. 84 hours later. 3.5 days. So we come down here and we say, something is holding back Israel's invasion of Gaza. What's holding it back? It's that first seal. Satan about to be removed. There's a war right now going on in heaven. We have a countdown of 15 days, 8 days, 7 days, 5 days, 5 days, 3.5 days, 3.5 days. When will the rapture occur? Many are looking at this lunar eclipse on the 28th. And then we're looking at the flood. So we have the 28th and the 31st. I don't think now with Brenda Weltner's whole thing, her whole theme about Revelation is it's not 7 years long, it's 3.5 years long, because Jesus, remember Jesus walked, his ministry was 3.5 years. It lasted exactly 3.5 years, 42 months. But I'm wondering if what Brenda is actually seeing, and I don't know, she's very wise when it comes to Revelation, but she's seeing this 3.5, and I'm wondering if she's not applying it to the wrong part. There is a 7-year tribulation. I believe that because of Daniel's 70th week. But what if the 3.5 she's seeing is Jesus completed the 3.5 from Heshvan 10 when Noah enters the ark until we go on Heshvan 14, October the 28th, during the lunar eclipse at 11:11 p.m. I don't know. It's just a thought that I had in there. We'll see, I guess, right? So that's why I said that maybe she's seeing the 84 hours, 3.5 days as Jesus completing that part, but not the 3.5 years. Tribulation is 7 years long. C.J. Lovick, remember, he sees this dual jubilee going on, and he doesn't quite understand why. He's seen it in the Bible. He doesn't know how to apply it. And I showed you the reason it is because Adam was in the garden for 7 years, and in the eighth year, which is the second month of 17th, he was in there 7 years and 47 days until he sinned. And then he was removed 47 days later. So I think what's holding Gaza, all this stuff, I think that Satan has moved everything in place, honestly, to attempt to thwart. He knows he's losing us. There's nothing he can do about that. But he can't lose anymore. He doesn't want to lose anymore. He wants to convince everybody. I mean, seriously, if you couldn't text anyone or talk to anyone at all, and you were in your house and there's bombs dropping everywhere and two people out of your house disappear, it's going to freak you out. But there's bombs dropping in the pool in the backyard. There's horrible things going on. You're not going back to work. Your house might get destroyed. Your car might get hit by something. They're going to come up with 1,000 things to divert your attention away. If two people disappear out of the house, you're not going to be that you're going to be concerned, but, or let's just say nobody disappears out of your house and three people disappear out of your neighbor's house, and they're like, I don't know what happened to him. He was this crazy Jesus freak always talking about the return of Jesus, but I don't. And the neighbor's like, no, it was a nuclear bomb. They just disintegrated. Just calm down. Have some water. Let's hang out together until America gets us under control. And they're not. So you know what's going to happen. And it's designed that way. That's why you see this huge buildup everywhere so that it can be done that way. It can hide what's about to happen. So anyway, RepoMan64, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody, and accept that absolute free gift that God is giving you. And if you feel that draw to do such a thing, John 6:44, he's calling you, and he's not making a mistake. Just receive that free gift. We're running out of time. I've been saying that for 30 years, but we haven't seen what we're seeing now. Pretty excited actually with what we're seeing now. Is this really a countdown? Are we looking at a countdown? I don't know. Kind of looks like a countdown. So, just warn everybody that you can. Just plant that seed. That's the most important thing, is that the saints get that information. And the second it happens, when there is a saint in one house and the neighbor lost three people, and that neighbor, I don't know what happened. They just disappeared. He's got this weird Jesus room that he's always putting timelines up and pictures and moons, and he's got all this crazy stuff all the time. And the saint will go, I know what happened. I saw this coming up. I laughed at him. I didn't believe it, but it's here. They were raptured. And then, of course, they'll be like, really? You think that's what really happened? Yes. The seed has been planted. And that's what we need. That's what we want. 7 billion people, 8 billion people left on the face of the earth after the bride is gone. You're going to want as many people as possible making the statement, I know what happened to them. I saw them go. If you see me, go. So that's the task that we have in front of us, is to warn as many people about what's about to happen, so that when it does happen, that they know what happens or what has happened. And that is the most important thing. Honestly, the bride is sealed. We were sealed before the foundations. God knew who we were before. The rest of it, I mean, God knows everything anyway, right? But the rest of it is been up to us. It has always been up to us. God gave it to us to warn. And trust me, when we get to heaven, there will not be one single person going, that's not fair. Oh, it's fair. It's fair, because the lake of fire is where we're all supposed to go. Anybody that's pulled and saved out of the lake of fire, what a blessing. But we're all wretched sinners. Nobody deserves to go to heaven. Throw off all that work you think you have, this knowledge, the smart, the church, and all these things that you think you've done that make you deserve more than anyone else to go to heaven because you're better than they are. You've already become a saint with that concept. Get rid of it. Welcome welcome to the family of the church that's about to be raptured once you do that. So, all right, Repo Man 64, man. When I saw this countdown, I was like, isn't that incredible? 15 days, 8 days, 7 days, 7 days. Oh, sorry, 7 days, 5 days, 5 days, 3.5 days, 3.5 days. It's a countdown. Are we counting down to the lunar eclipse, or is this a countdown? And imagine when I find when Spinebreaker says, no, the lunar eclipse happens at 11:11. Some of them say 11:14, but most of them say 11:11, and I'm like, is that incredible? I mean, seriously, we've all been seeing 11s. God's been pointing us to this. We've all been seeing this 11:11. I just had a picture I showed you. I just took that. I think it was today or yesterday. I'm still seeing 11:11. So God has been fulfilling Amos 3:7 abundantly. So, but is he going to tell us the exact moment? No, because Satan is just waiting to devour us, and he does not want. He's holding this date, this moment. And remember, it happens so fast in an instant. Satan would have to have some serious timing to get us. He can't. So the very moment that it happens, we just don't know. But the timing, the days, the seasons, we're in it. We can see it. We know it. So we're there. But anyway, let me get off here. I'll keep going on. We will chat with you again. Maybe never. Talk to you never.